Hey guys, what's up? So this is my part four of Native American Legends of Christ, from the book He Walked the Americas by L. Taylor Hansen. Um, so I'm gonna read three different chapters, three different stories. First, it'll be the Western Seaboard from Washington, Oregon, and California. In Michigan, according to Dikuda, is the ancient center of the giant cross of waters. To the south goes the Mississippi. To the north, the river to the Pole Star Ocean. To the east, the waters to the sunrise. And farther west, those to the sunset. Along this trail toward the sunset trod the Master's golden sandals. No tribe was too remote for his sacred visits, none too poor for his ministrations, none too warlike for his counsels. If he heard of a war, he went there, called the chieftains into conclave, divided up the territory, gave them seeds and taught them gardening. Do not kill unless you are hungry, and then ask the animal's forgiveness and explain your great need to him before ever you pull the bowstring. This was a rule that never a red man would be so rash as to violate. So before the hunting, each tribe holds a prayer dance of olden ritual. Always he was called the feathered serpent, Imishitol or Isikotl among the Algonquins. Ti means Lord. Always he wore the long white toga, embroidered with black crosses along the bottom, and walked through the dust with golden sandals. Whenever the people made him new garments, he left with them the old ones, which they treasured beyond all wampum, saying that to touch them was healing. During each of his visits, he trained 12 disciples and one to be their leader, who would accede to his title after he had gone about my father's business. After his visit, the grieving tribesmen carved the hand with the T cross upon the walls of the canyons, so that none would forget him, and they could show to their children's children the eternal emblem of his coming. To the Chinooks the prophet came. Once, when leaning on his long staff, he pointed to the plain below them. Down through the cycles of the dawn star, I see below us spread a city which shall be named Tacoma. It is a city of the white man. What are you saying, master? Your name is Telacoma, meaning Lord Miracle Worker. The great white mountain where sleeps the fire god bears your name, Telacoma, not the plain below us. Yea, but the mountain bears another name, and few of the men who lived in the city and used the name Tacoma will understand the olden meaning. The hot springs of Tacubaya marked the passage of the healer, while in the canyons of the nearby Cazo, where so lightly sleeps the fire god, there is a canyon of ancient recording, and in this long and silent gallery is the hand with the T cross, and near it the great cross, olden symbol of the Master. To the land of the Havasu the healer came one early dawn, climbing down a steep trail into the great dividing canyon, with the sunrise sun behind him. They saw he of the white robe coming. The flame of the dawn touched his golden sandals, and long before they saw him raise one arm in greeting, meaning peace and prosperity to you, they whispered to one another, He comes to us, the great Decobia, the mighty master miracle worker. Then, with the whole tribe watching, they saw him stop and tap a large rock in the midst of the desert dryness with his long staff, and behold, there gushed forth water. He stooped and drank from the sacred water, which is still called the spring of Tecobia. To the, to the pueblos Tlaxcoma came, who then were the outpost cities of the great empire of Tula, capital city of the Toltecs. Their lands were peaceful, their plantations extensive. In those days they did not need to hide on mesas to keep away from wicked raiders. For long was the lance of the Toltec armies to protect their outposts. To the Wallapi tribe came great Tecopa, who gathered the chiefs in giant conclave and redistributed the grain fields. Then he taught them more clever gardening, gave them melon, pumpkins, and mescal, squashes, and beans. He showed them how to conserve water and hinder underground reservoirs. Many other plants he gave them, which had been lost throughout the ages. To the people of the White Rock he came. They told him that they had come here after the Great War in the Southland, where all their cities were left burning, and they themselves but a splinter of a once mighty power. Sad in their hearts and ever homesick, they remembered their disaster. They say that he told them of another nation which had to flee oppression in days long vanished. Then he showed them the beauty of their new land and how to make their gardens prosper. When he was ready to leave the pueblos, again he called the chiefs to council. When he told them he was going, they were desolate with sadness. Heavy our hearts and dark our future on that day when you will leave us. For there are tribes westward known to men as the sacrificers. Some day they will overwhelm us. Then unto these serpent people will I go, and I will teach them. Yea, but will never more we see you? In truth, I give to you a promise. Keep you my precepts. Forsake all warfare, and you shall ever have my blessing, even beyond white man's coming, and woe to the hands that are raised against you. But will you come back to us, great master? Yea, if to my teachings you are faithful, and to show that you have lived each day rightly, leave a light at night burning against the time I will return through the dawn light, and lead thee unto my Father's kingdom. So every night a light is burning in Acoma and other pueblos among these tribes, which we call heathen. So next I will read The Hopi Snake Priest from Arizona. The snake priest of the Hopi stood near the edge of the ancient Walpi, with folded arms, surveyed the desert below. Thank you for the condor feather. You say you got it from the great zoo? For us, it is a bird of legend. It is that for all the tribes of the American Indian people, I told him. Behind him, the old fortress upon the mesa top made a background for his figure, beautifully clothed in his native costume. His skin, light for that of many red-skinned people, was as innocent of hair as the cheek of a young child. That fact, with this beardless man, proved that he had no blood of white man. For a moment we continued to stand in silence. To speak too soon or abruptly would prove only that one had little breeding in the quiet, ceremonious world of the red man. So I continued to stare at the ancient mud-brick city, already old when the Aztec monarch first heard of white man's coming. You wrote to me in your letter that you wished to speak to me of the pale god. Of those days now, few men remember. That I have learned, yet I would put those days in a book for reading, so that young red men will remember the ancients, the heritage of all you people. He sighed and glanced glance back at the pueblo. Perhaps in your book you will write of my people, of their kindness, their old traditions, their peaceful ways, and their love of beauty. We belong here on the desert. It is a wild land, I murmured. It is our land, and without it, life would not be worth living. Ah, yes, the desert has a strange fascination. It is easy out here to believe in the fire god, he said, pushing back his long hair, raven blue as the wing of a wild bird and held from the eyes by a scarlet headband. Look at those mountainous shafts of red rock, torn and shattered and twisted upward. Here's a strange sort of soul magic, a land of weird fascination, a never land of beauty. I said it was easy to believe in the fire god. See how he crushed and mauled the mountains, then twisted them up. Even the water holes, cool and turquoise, are not always filled with good water. You can tell by looking for the animal skeletons. And the heat waves paint strange pictures for the thirsty. Yes, I too know the desert. You should not have come to us in summer. It is not the time to speak of the ancients, but there are some hints that I can give you. It is well that you move among the nations. Ask the high priest in winter. Perhaps he will not turn his back upon you. If he believes that you are honest and do not come to make fun of these stories, and when you yourself walk the broad land, remember that he was here before you. Learn to see his sign, and when it is carved in the canyons, learn to know his name when you hear it spoken. Above all, remember that he loved this beauty, for it must have gripped his heart with taloned fingers when alone in the immensity he watched the sunrise or the sunset. Remember this when the sun god is painting and you go forth to speak to the people of Takopa, the healer. Speak of this when you talk to the people, and they will open their hearts to you when they see that your path of life is not crooked, but open and filled with beauty. They will speak and send you away with a blessing. May the Great Spirit walk with you down a life path of beauty, even as I say it now in our ancient language. Lolomi, forever, Lolomi. Speak of this, and you speak of the prophet. Speak like this, and you will hear of the prophet. And the next story is The Untamed Seri. Tiburon Island, Gulf of California. Perhaps to no tribe is the memory of the master more of a living thing than it is with a Seri, the shaggy-haired, neglected Seri living in a poverty-stricken squalor upon Mexico's Tiburon Island. Still ruled by their sacrificing priesthood are the hardy, untamed Seri, still painting their cheeks with the ancient totem which came north on the Balsa migrations. Thousands of years ago, say the chanters, the Seri were part of the serpent people, living together with the turtles in their powerful ocean homeland. Long before the time of the deluge, after the great disaster, they fled to the land called the Snows of the Southland. Here they built giant cities and called themselves the Men of the Mountains. Underneath their powerful cities were the giant caverns of the serpent. After many ages, a northern army came down and burned those cities, and the serpents fled through the caverns to where their ships were waiting, and took themselves on the seas to the other coastlines in a series of long migrations. To them came Tilzoma, the miracle worker, in a canoe which moved by wind power. He stepped out on the beach in the early dawn. They marveled at his long white toga, his hair and beard gleaming with red lights, and his eyes the color of deep sea water. They thought of him as a beautiful teacher who suddenly took on the halo of godhood that happened on the hour of arrival. A man rushed out and fell before him, crying, Ahunt Azoma, Lord miracle worker, for you strange rumors have come to us. Heal these eyes for so long darkened. Bring back my sight of the trees and flowers, of the sea and the people all about me. The master, stooping quickly, gathered in his hands some wet sand and placing it over the eyelids of the sightless man, said softly, Go thee out and bathe in the ocean. With breathless awe, the Sari gathered. Here was the test. If he who had been blinded came back to them seeing, then indeed was a god among them. If not, then there would be a sacrifice for the snake god. The blinded man gave a scream of anguish, then a cry of unutterable joy, and came toward them running wildly, looking at hands full of water, and at his curled fingers, at the sea and the sky. Sobbing wildly, he fell at the feet of the healer. The Sari, watching, fell down and worshipped, calling, Ahut Azoma, Lord miracle worker. For many moons the master lived with them, teaching them how to store their water and their giant clay-baked olas. He taught them how to feed their children after their mothers had weaned them, so that fewer would die as little toddlers. He pointed out to them many wild plants that could be prepared for cooking. Up to the time of the prophet's coming, and some say now, the tribe controlled its population so they would not overrun the island or deplete the food supply by allowing no children life beyond that number, which the death of elders provided. This ancient law was broken by the master as against the law which he gave them, raise not the knife in bloody slaughter. When the time came for the prophet's going, he called the Sari to sit in council. I am leaving you prosperous and happy, but other tribes need me, so I go to the Papago. Nay, Lord, go not to the Papago. They are an enemy tribe of the wicked people. But the master answered, smiling, In my father's land are many lodges. Then tell us, great Ahunt Azoma, you speak often of this land of thy father, yet you say not where it lies, or in what direction. Softly the bearded one gave his answer, My father's land lies deep within you.